Hello, I'm Jeremy. Welcome back to another Friday Sews. I'm going to be showing you what I made this week and how I like it. Some pictures of me wearing it too, and a couple of patterns I'll be making soon, and a little discussion I'm having about ethics in pattern drafting. But more importantly, did you find a good watermelon? Because I haven't had my first of the season yet, and we need to start a club, right? Watermelon. Watermelon. Anyway. So this is the project that I sewed this week for the live stream. It's the Texas top by Personal Clothing, a new company. Well, I'm not sure if they're a new company. They, the folks that gave me the project said that they're launching patterns now, so that's new. So maybe they already have something else going on, like a fabric store. I couldn't tell. So this is the Texas top. It's a wrap top inspired by an outfit that the gal made to wear to a wedding in Texas. So that's where this comes from. And it does tie shut here. And then it has this wrap that kind of hangs loose and hangs down below. And it has this asymmetrical collar, which is really cool. Set-in sleeve back seam, which I'm not sure it has much shaping back here, so you could even put some shaping in there if you wanted a little bit more of a tuck back there, or a little bit more shaping there. So one of the ideas I had is that I think what I'm going to do is make one of these where I put this seam on both sides. So basically I'm going to make the left and right fronts the same. I'm going to extend this piece to match, go up to that seam right there. Where'd it go? Back there, or maybe even pull the seam over a little bit. And do the same there, and then I'm going to sew this into the seam. And that way it can be a pullover with no ties, because I think that would actually be pretty cool. I thought it would look really nice with some jeans, so I tried it on last night, and I thought it looked really good. This isn't mine. I don't get to keep this, so now I really want my own, so I'm probably going to make one for me. Okay, so here's the pattern envelope. I don't think it comes as a PDF yet, and I know they're planning on expanding sizes. Right now it goes up to a 44-inch bust and down to a 33-inch bust, up to a 48-inch hip, down to 37-inch. So I'm not trying to sell you this pattern, but I just thought I'd give you a little bit more information, since I bet none of you have heard of it. I hadn't heard of it either. Not that I know every pattern. I'm actually not very good about that kind of thing, but they say they are adding more sizes before they add more patterns, so that's kind of cool. All right, and a couple of the other things I'm working on. This is actually going to be a project I sew and edit and upload, which is really rare. I usually just do everything live, but I wanted to give a demonstration on how to lengthen a garment with diagonal seams, and the Texas top was actually a really good example of that, and I could kind of show that in the cutting video. This one, I don't know if you can see very well, but do you see these crisscross lines here? So you can make it without this little V inset there. It's quite deep. The hashtags lie. All those gals, I don't know why it looks great on them. Maybe they're pulling it in the back. Maybe it hits them in a good spot. Me, it's cleavage all the way, baby. So, I have to wear a little camisole under the one I made. But I think I would like to make a little shallower V, maybe not one that's so high up, and I'll try and show that in the video. But I'm going to show how to lengthen it with these diagonal seams, because you can't just add to the length. You will distort the dimensions of the proportions. I think that's what I want to say. But I wanted to show you the fabric I'm using is, when you haven't been to a fabric store in a long time, when you go to World Market, you see the napkins and you go, ooh, fabric, because they have so many cute napkins there, and they were $1 each. I sat there and did the math. I did the okay, these are X inches by X inches, and a yard has this many inches in it, square yard, whatever. And it was a good deal. It made the fabric far less than what a yard of fabric would be. So I kind of flat felled it together, if you want to consider it that way. So these are pieces I've made in order to cut that out, that paper cut pinnacle top out. And I even could change the direction of the dandelions so that they're going this way down my sleeve and this way down my front, because that pattern piece is huge and it's all one. I'm not a big fan of those kinds of sleeves. I am set in sleeve all the way. Like if there was a dating service for sewing, my little description would be, I'm looking for a nice set in sleeve, you know? So I think that says a lot about that pattern. I kind of like the way it fit. It's pretty forgiving for some of the lumps and bumps I've gotten lately. And I think it's pretty comfortable, and the non-set in sleeve aspect really doesn't bug me. So I'm going to put this batik as the inset at the bottom. Kind of wanted a linen, but some of those linens with two different warp and weft color fibers fight my cameras. They look kind of crazy on there. But I love the dark black of this with these dandelions. So that's what I'm going to make off. Not live, but recorded. And then tomorrow I'm fitting Dawn jeans on my live stream. I've made the Ash jeans by Megan Nielsen patterns, and they sort of fit me right out the gate, out of the envelope. I'm hoping for more fit issues tomorrow. I haven't sewn my sample yet and tried them on. And I'm still trying to figure out how to go about demonstrating the fit of pants. And I've been thinking about getting a pant form, but I'm kind of toying with the idea of making one. I'm going to link the video in the description, because there's this one I saw where you make a mold of yourself using masking tape, and then you use expanding foam. And I kind of like this idea because it doesn't have to be perfect or identical to me. I'm looking for anybody's pant form or a mannequin, and something I can cut and put on my tabletop so I can do some demos. So even if it's not a real dress form, that's fine. We're just doing it to demonstrate fitting, because it's one of the things I want to work on. These are the fabrics I'm going to do it in. I'm going to use that It Has Pockets fabric I just made. It says, of course it does. And I made it specifically for this project. But check out how wrinkly this denim is. Like, I do not plan. You've seen this mustard denim. It does not look like that on the camera. It looks better in person. Maybe on my face cam it looks a little better. You know, it's that classic mustard denim. I don't know why it's so wrinkly though. I don't plan on ironing these, so they're going to be casual for sure. So that's what I'm working on next week for my live stream. So the other thing we've been talking about is, like, my current ethical question is, what if I taught people how to make patterns in a style, like say there's a pattern company that comes out with a new style and they're not planning on making your size anytime soon, or they just historically don't do that and you just want that style. What if I taught people how to do that? Like, how ethical is that? I know how I feel about this. It probably would surprise you how I feel about this. And I have dealt with copyright and design stuff, NDAs. I worked somewhere where they locked us in the design room because of spies. And this kind of topic is not new to me. I've been dealing with the whole idea of copying in the fashion industry for 35 years. Like, it is not new to me. But this is a little different. It is kind of an interesting thing to think about. Like, you know, people aren't probably going to create their custom pattern that fits them and then market and sell it, right? And I don't really think the person that wants to sew that, if they can buy the pattern, they're going to do that because it's far cheaper than spending hours drafting and testing your own pattern. I don't think a pattern company would look at it that way, but at the same time, I think that the more people wearing their styles, even if they didn't create it, helps them out. So there's a lot of different angles to this, and I love these kinds of questions. But that's where I'll leave it. Let me know how you feel. I kind of think it's interesting. My stream and I have been kind of chatting about it. But I think the one thing that we all came to the conclusion of is that we want to do more pattern drafting and fitting streams. And we're going to really push forward the idea of everybody having their own block. I've created videos on drafting your own block based on measurements, which is just one way to go about it. And there are lots of other ways, like draping and stuff like that, but not everybody has a dress form. It's almost impossible to drape yourself. People make their own custom dress forms. There's lots of things. There's bootstrap fashion, you know, things like that. But I think that the idea of having your own block and then you have that baseline, it's even great just for buying a pattern, putting your block on it, and making the adjustments to that pattern right out the gate if you know you need to do that, right? It helps. So someone emailed me and gave me this really great link to a company called freesewing.org, and I have heard of this company, and I apologize to every guy that has mentioned it in my chat, because it's usually guys that because I asked them, hey guys, what patterns are you making these days? I want to sew more menswear. Where are you getting your patterns? Who are you liking? What do you want? We all know Thread Theory. I've done a few of hers, and I just want to give as much variety as possible and not be too tunnel vision on one company. And they all said freesewing.org, and I was like, oh, okay. And I thought, really? That site? I was thinking of a completely different site, more of a site where if you went on it, you'd be like, oh my gosh, there's just too much. It's like it's like sale, sale, sale. It's crazy. It's a crazy site. I'm not even going to say the site of, because I don't want to give them bad press or anything, but I kind of was surprised that to me, I was like, wow, you guys are desperate looking for patterns for you if you're willing to navigate that site, because that site's like going to a yard sale of 50 people on one tiny lawn. It's just too much stuff. It's sewing, but it is too much. It's an onslaught on the eyes. They were talking about freesewing.org. There's a lot of menswear patterns on there, and you can input your measurements, and it gives you your block. Men, women, or basically it's not that they determine it as men and women. It's more with breasts, without breasts. So you just click that box. So however you identify, whatever shape your body is, you can build your block based on that. And I think that's pretty cool. But the process, I know you're like, oh, I don't want to put my measurements again. You know, it's such a process, or maybe you have it written down. It's actually quite enjoyable, and it's the most unique way I've ever seen people do it. It's pretty cool. I think I would highly recommend it. You have to create an account. It is free. You create an account, and then what you do is in your profile, you put all these measurements, and you can put as many or few as possible. You just need certain ones for certain patterns. And if you want the blocks, the bodice block for any body is Brianna. And there's a trouser block as well, or a pant block. I haven't tried that. I've printed mine out. The dart looks kind of crazy. And remember, this is just a starting point, and look how short-waisted I am. My waist is getting a little higher and higher. Anyone relate to that? But I'm pretty excited to check it out. I printed it out, and I just need to cut and sew it real quick. I gave myself 1/4-inch seams. You can input that, which is pretty nifty. So anyway, that's something we're talking about, and we're going to be doing more pattern drafting streams. And I think by the end of May, we're going to really tackle this block and kind of get everybody going. Pretty excited about that. So tell me what's new with you. What are you guys making and sewing? And I'm really enjoying watching everybody's vlogs on Friday sews. It's kind of cool. It's kind of like a little diary every week. So have a great weekend. Happy sewing. And hopefully I'll see you around. Bye. Watermelon. So good.